Did you know that you can use the Steam controller on the Nintendo Switch? If not, I'm going to show you how you can do that. It's very easy. First thing you want to do is make sure that you have batteries in your controller. For whatever reason, it doesn't work otherwise. So just make sure that you have both batteries in there. Then what you have to do is connect your controller to the PC using a micro USB cable while you're holding down the right trigger button. This will grant you access to the storage of the controller, and now you can see that a new drive popped up on the PC. I'd recommend creating a folder like this one on your PC to store the original and the new firmware for the controller. I created 2 more folders inside of that one for each file. Once that is done and you connect the controller to your PC as shown before, you will see the new drive pop up on your screen. Then you need to copy the one file that's on the drive of the controller into the folder on your PC for the original firmware so that you have a backup in case something goes wrong or you want to revert all of this. Next, go to the link in the description, which is the GitHub of Gregory Gluszek, who created this firmware. You can also learn more about this entire project on this site and Gregory's YouTube channel. There will be links to all of that in the description. On the website, click on Firmware, then Bin, and then the file called OpenSteamController ninswitch.bin. The download button will then be on the right side. When the file is done downloading, go to your Downloads folder and copy the file into the folder you created earlier for the new firmware. You can now delete the file that is on the drive of the Steam controller, and then you can replace that file with the file you just downloaded and copied onto your PC. Then all you have to do is make sure you name this file firmware.bin and you're done. You might, however, need to go into your Switch's settings, scroll down to Controllers and Sensors, and make sure that Wired Pro Controller Communication is set to on, because this controller only works with a wire on the Nintendo Switch, and it is now considered a Wired Switch Pro controller. If you now want to use your Steam controller for things like Mario Maker 2 on the Nintendo Switch, you can do just that. All the normal buttons on the controller work now, except for the back pedals, and they use the Nintendo Switch button mapping, meaning that A and B and X and Y will be the opposite of what it says on the controller. The right touchpad is the right stick, which feels weird, but it works. I would not really recommend you to play platforming games with this D-pad because it doesn't really feel like you can be really precise with it, but it technically works. I normally wouldn't say this, but in this case, for a game like Mario Maker 2, which is a 2D platforming game, I prefer using the left thumbstick instead of the D-pad. 3D games like Mario Odyssey work alright. There are no motion controls, meaning you can't roll faster or do special cap throws, but you can still play most of the game just fine. With this new firmware, however, you cannot use the Steam controller on your PC anymore, and you have to reinstall the original firmware if you want to do that. If something were to go wrong, which is unlikely but possible, I will also leave a link in the description to a Steam thread which will let you acquire the original Steam controller's firmware again in case you lost your backup or something. To reinstall the original firmware, connect the controller to the PC again while holding down the right trigger button and replace the firmware.bin file from the drive of the Steam controller with the file that we backed up earlier. The only thing you need to make sure is that it's called firmware.bin again, because otherwise it won't work. As you can see, once I did that, I could unplug the cable from the controller and connect it to the PC again using the dongle of the Steam controller, and Steam already tells me that it recognizes the controller. And there you have it. You now know how easy it is to use this weird controller on the Nintendo Switch. I doubt anyone would use this controller over most other controllers, but it's at least cool that it works, even though there are limitations. Anyway, I'll see you next time when I'll probably be talking about some other weird and wacky controller or another way to play on the Nintendo Switch. Bye bye.